Hi everyone. So today I want to talk about gesso. So what I've done is, I think yesterday or the day before, I had some time, so I decided to very quickly apply some of the different gessos that I have, and then let it dry. And then today I'm going to do use watercolor and perhaps other mediums on top and just see how it compares. So here on this side I have clear gesso, which I bought a small bottle just to try it out and see if I like it. And this is the Dina Wakley, and so it is clear. You would be able to see basically through it onto the paper. Here is no gessos, just the paper. Next to it on this side I've got white gesso, which is this one, also by Dina Wakley. I basically bought all of her gessos, which is the white, the clear, and the black, which I will show you in a minute. And on this side, I've got the white gesso, which is by Pebeo, and it's got a lot more texture. I don't know if you can actually hear it. I'll just bring it close to the microphone, and I'll do it that way. So this one is white gesso, and this one is the Pebeo. Sorry, the first one was Dina Wakley white gesso, and the second one was the Pebeo white gesso, and it has more texture. It kind of has this, almost makes you it feels like arches, you know, the watercolor paper that you can get. So it has that sandy feel to it, and I find it also I don't know, I find it more pigmented, so it's more opaque. And the black gesso I have right here, I haven't applied it yet, I will do it later. I want to compare all of them, but yes, so all the whites are on here. Just before we start, because I know some of you are really interested, I wanted to show you my nail art, and if you're not interested in it, I'll put down here to the time you can skip to continue watching about the gesso. So I haven't done nail art in a really long time, and today I decided to do it. I mean, it didn't come out perfectly. I did mess it up to begin with. I used to do it quite frequently, and I knew exactly how to do it like to get a perfect result, what I had to do. And then today I just decided to go ahead, and I used the Moyu London nail plate. So this is the Stamping Nail Art plate collection. This one is the Rebel. They have different ones, and this particular plate is the 03 plate. I'll try and see if they still make them, and I will leave the link below. But basically, originally I wanted to stamp this Marilyn image right here, but no matter what I tried, I just couldn't transfer it well. And then in the end I picked this image right here, which is the one I've got on these two nails. And if you like to jazz up your nails, this is a really quick and fun way to do. All you need is just two different nail polish colors. I've done it in a black nail polish with the stamping, but you can you know, use whatever colors you want. I think I need to purchase a different stamping tool, because this might be old and maybe the silicone or the rubber bit isn't good anymore, because I know these plates are really good quality. So the way you do it, I just wanted to show you very quickly. You buy this set, which is a stamping tool and this scraper, and then basically apply the desired nail polish color on your image that you want to transfer. Then at 45 degrees you scrape the image to get rid of the excess nail polish. Then you pick it up with this tool, and then you transfer it onto the nail, and that's done. So it's very easy, and such a fun way of jazzing up your nails at home without needing to go and see any professionals. So that is it. Let's continue with gesso. Okay, so let's start. I pulled out a few of pens and pencils that I want to try out, because I'm particularly interested in doing some illustrations on gesso and seeing how these particular items will work. So what I've picked here, apart from the obvious, which is watercolor, I'm going to use student grade or craft watercolors. These are Prima, the classic set, so they have nice and vibrant colors. So I want to see how they're going to look. I'm going to pick a couple of colors to swatch. Next, I have these pens. So this is the Zebra Sarasu 0.5. So it's a fairly fine point, and I like illustrating with it, but sometimes, especially on textured watercolor paper, it can work differently. So I'm curious about that. This is the water soluble, so it doesn't stay permanent. So if water comes in contact, it does bleed a little bit. Next one I have is even finer, 0.25. So I want to see how that will work. Some gessos are smooth and you can work beautifully with a very fine point pen, and some are rougher and you would struggle. So we're going to test that out. Then the final ink pen I have here is, this is very fine. So this is a platinum carbon ink, and I think it's called Superfine, the nib. So it's round about the thickness of these ballpoint pens, but obviously different ink, and it's waterproof. So it's not going to move anywhere, or it shouldn't. So we'll test that. Then I have the same pencil. So this is the Polychromos pencil by Faber-Castell, and I've got 3 different colors here, which I also want to test out. So let's start. So we're going to start with the clear gesso, which is just over here, and I'm going to start with watercolors first, because I'm going to go over gesso, which is in some cases it can be smooth, in some cases it's a little bit rougher, but I'm just going to use my like a craft watercolor brush. So this is a Vicky Boutin one, something basically that's not expensive, or not my favorite brush, because I wouldn't want to lose the tip for it, if that makes sense. So this is, let's see, this is round 6, it says. I'm going to do, let's do an orange on here. I'm just going to clean it up a little. So these are very bright. So I applied it round about, it's hard to see, I'm going to tilt it, so I've got it here. And I'm also going to do a little bit of this just to see how it moves. So far so good. And I'm going to do this bright blue as well while we're at it. Okay. And then this is no gesso, so this is just regular paper. Okay, so we're going to go the same color. Let's see how that works. And then onto the blue again. And just touching it with a clean, wet brush. Okay, I'm just going to move all of these over here, and then I am going to do the same with both of the white gessos. So I hope you can see that. There we go. All right, so let's start with the Dina Wakley one. White gesso. And straight away, it kind of almost has a resist feel to it. So as you can see, the watercolor is actually doing something strange here. Okay, so by strange, what I mean is that it actually doesn't flow very nicely, and it sort of beads up almost a little bit. So I'm going to give you a close-up right here. So this is the white gesso by Dina Wakley compared to the clear gesso. So the clear gesso actually acts very much like just regular paper in a way. So I wonder if you would apply it onto like a different texture. Let's see, actually, why don't I try it on here? I'm quite excited. So this is not a watercolor paper, so this is just a little like newspaper type of thing or leaflet from Marks and Spencer, a food store. And I'm just going to get a little bit of this gesso. Quite curious. This was not in the plan, but I also didn't expect this to happen. So I'm just smearing it like so, and I will let it dry now. And I'll come back to it once it's fully dry, and then we'll try that out. Okay, so let me do the turquoise blue now, which is this one. I'm going to do it right next to it. Yeah, it's basically just a complete resist. It's a little bit, I'm a bit surprised, to be honest. So, I mean, it dries, it doesn't come off, but it behaves very differently. So let's do the same colors again on the white gesso by Pebeo. So here the color really doesn't smudge around. It kind of sticks. It's very staining on here and very bright. So it doesn't do that beating up, and it's also the most textured one as well. So let's leave those to dry, and then let's do the next medium, which is pens. Okay, so we'll start here again. So out of curiosity, I want to use this skin tone, which is called Cinnamon. It's a great skin tone pencil, and I'm just going to check it like so and try to build it up a little. And then I'm just checking where the clear gesso is, because looking straight onto it, I wouldn't be able to see it. So it goes on really nicely onto the gesso. I don't have to work really hard at it at all. Let's see what happens if we go into the watercolor paper. Oh, I actually prefer it on the clear gesso, and I hope you can see it. Here I didn't have to push very hard, and I would get a great payoff. And here it actually is quite scratchy. It was very smooth on there. And it looks kind of more vivid as well, the color. It doesn't blend as well on here, I find. So in all of these cases I can still see the first layers. Let's see if I do that same thing here. So if I do that, you can't see that first layer. It goes on like butter. I'll show you a little close-up by what I mean. So here you can see how I just went over the edge and there is nothing to see, like no first layer. And here, no matter how I tried to blend it, but both in the orange, actually in all of the colors, you can see that the pencil doesn't look as smooth, and you can see the first scratchy, scribbly marks. Alright, so now let's try the white gesso over here. Again, feels a lot smoother than just regular paper. Feels really nice. I don't have to work hard, but I don't know whether you can see the difference. It's a lot more paler than on clear gesso. So again, very blendable, no problems whatsoever. And then we're going to do the orange one. So like that, and then going over it to blend, and blends beautifully. And then we're going to do the same here. Okay, perfect. Right, so now onto white gesso, which is the most textured one. And immediately I get the darkest result from them all. And also I'm losing a lot of the pigment from the pencil, as it's literally just being kind of scraped onto the paper because of its harsh texture. So I wouldn't recommend using pencil here because you would lose a lot of it. So you can see there's a lot of this pigment just turns into powder like that. So that is interesting to see the difference. Okay, so I need to clean this up now, because otherwise it will go everywhere. Okay, so not recommending it on here, it's quite messy. Okay, next thing, so let's put these pencils to the side, and then I want to do some doodling with this first one. Let's see, so I'm going to doodle a leaf and maybe another leaf and leave it at that. So the feeling on the first one, which is the clear gesso, you could feel it grip onto the paper a lot better, glides smoother with no gesso on the paper. However, I like both results. I find that it's more crisper on the clear gesso. So that's my opinion. And then let's try the white gesso. Okay, here it glides even more, to the point where I'm actually curious whether it would be smudgeable or not. So let's try the white gesso here, and this is very scratchy, and I would imagine that very quickly you'd get the tip clogged. So far so good. I'm going to do a little smudging test. I would also recommend to clean off the tip straight away after using it on the rough gesso. Let's do a little smudge test. So I'm going to go into one side and try to smudge it. Nothing happens. Here it smudges. I'm going to use a clean finger here, and here it smudges too. So both of these gessos, this is actually the problem I had with this Pabia white gesso. It kind of was really smudgeable. I actually show you what I mean.